Now, moving on to example number 7 in the next slide, I want you to watch a 4.5-minute video from beginning to end, and I want you to think about the way that these African performers are using some African American popular genres. We sometimes call them urban black genres because they come from the city, urban cultures of North America, the United States. And then I'll have some questions that you can click on for the slides and the bullets on the slide to answer some questions about what you just experienced.
To all my people, East Africa, Tanzania, Uganda and Kenya, Dar es Salaam, A-Town, wherever you are, piga magoti tuombe Mungu. Kwani nini zambi kwa Mwenyezi? Kipi haram, kipi halali? Hii ni siasa, dini, vita, Bwana utukufu. Simama imara, zunguka kila kona, kila anga angaza. Kushoto kulia, mbele nyuma, kote pitia. Hapo lipo jishikiza na wanyama. Hii ni mahususi na maalum kwa watu wangu, walemavu, vipofu, zeru na wenda wazimu, watoto wa mitaani, fukara, masikini na wenye akili zao timamu. Hii kamba ngumu mpya, tunakutana na wenye nguvu, vitambi na mashavu. Hakuna tena fair game, refalika uzu wanje wenye mkafu. Ujira mgumu, malipo pini, kilichobaki kucheza rafu. Tumechoshwa na ukabaila, wepari na ubeberu. Wakati ndio huu, ukombozi ndio huu. Na sasa naamuru mliopo chini wote mpewe divai ya vinungu, mtetezi wenu nikaze kidamu, nimwage sumu ya upufu juu yao, wajikune bila aibu. Kwanza saluti waliotangulia kuzimu, pili tuombe Mungu Baba yetu, utupe mkate wetu wa kila siku, tujaze nguvu tupate kudumu ndani ya demu. Tukapofika kuzimu sisi wa hukumu, tupe nafasi tupate kutukuka. Tunajua tunatenda maovu, sometimes tunakula haram, tunatumia kila mbinu juju, halifu, danganifu ili tuweze kujikimu, lakini isiwe kisingizio kwa wanadamu wengine kutunyima haki zetu, kutuzibia riziki zetu, kutuita makafiri, dharau na kutukashifu. Nini zambi kwa Mwenyezi? Kipi haram, kipi halal? Kila mmoja naitaka imili, kitenda wili vurugu mechi wezi tabiri. Nini zambi kwa Mwenyezi? Kipi haram, kipi halal? Kila mmoja naitaka imili, kitenda wili vurugu mechi wezi tabiri. Kwa nini uliza swali? Kama sote tungelikuwa wasomi matajiri, nani angelifanya kazi za kutisha na hatari mfano ya mochwari, kusafisha jiji, ukuli, korokoro na kuzibua kinyesi? Kila mmoja wetu hapa mjini kaja kwa dini, kila kitu kila mahali na hata ngozi ya mtu. Wengine wachewe, waganga feki, matapelo, safiri, kafio, wakati wengine wapole kama walokole. Na pirika nyingi maofisini, kumbe na itikali, kahaba, shoga, jambazi, mengine kusitiri. Wapo waliopoteza maisha katika fight life, kumbukumbu zao zimebaki makaburini. Wapo waliopoteza kabisa tumaini la kuwini, hao roho zao utazani wametoa yani. Watu taiti mali fulani inabidi wakabidhi mshahara wote wa mwisho wa mwezi. Nini zambi kwa Mwenyezi? Kipi haram, kipi halal? Kila mmoja naitaka imili, kitenda wili vurugu mechi wezi tabiri. Nini zambi kwa Mwenyezi? Kipi haram, kipi halal? Kila mmoja naitaka imili, kitenda wili vurugu mechi wezi tabiri. Bongo kutafuta braza, utajajuta utapojikuta huna hata bukta. Shauri yako wetegesha tu kama golikipa, hao nao wategemea mwisho watakutosa. Huna elimu, huna foni, lakini nguvu, ulimi, uchumi unao, unaukalia. Kumbuka kupata au kukosa yote ni kawaida. Sometimes unaota, unakula, unakunywa, unapiga denda na kula uroda na dembo, kurupuka tunakuta patupu. Hakuna nini zambi kwa Mwenyezi? Kipi haram, kipi halal? Kila mmoja naitaka imili, kitenda wili vurugu mechi wezi tabiri. Nini zambi kwa Mwenyezi? Kipi haram, kipi halal? Kila mmoja naitaka imili, kitenda wili vurugu mechi wezi tabiri.
muziki.
Okay, first question. How does hip-hop combine African and European elements to reflect a distinctly African-American experience? It's not something that would have come together in, let's just say Mongolia, without, first hearing it from this source. So how does hip-hop combine African elements, or Africanisms, and European elements to reflect a distinctly African-American experience where those two things interact all the time? Next thing, as you look at the next bullet, there's a term here called repatriation, and that just means to return something back where it came from originally. So in a metaphorical way, I'm saying that if Africans on continental Africa use hip-hop to express themselves, it's like that genre of hip-hop is being repatriated to Africa because so much of its formulation comes from African aesthetics and African core values. So with that short explanation, how does a repatriation of hip-hop to Africa help contemporary African citizens to express their cultural realities in modern times? Next, why do you think that these musicians, these African musicians, chose hip-hop rather than a more traditional musical approach to convey their message? Again, we don't understand the language. Maybe French speakers will pick up on it, but we can maybe sense what the cultural themes are here, what the social themes are from the video, and also the pop-ups that happen occasionally throughout the video. So how do they convey that message through hip-hop in a way that might be even more, communicate even more powerfully to contemporary Africans? Now, after two different sessions, Module 6, Session 1, Module 6, Session 2, we have a summary of core Africanisms. The first bullet here talks about rough-edged or loose vocal timbres. Second bullet, call and response texture, sometimes called antiphonal, which is a special category of polyphony, if you remember polyphony from our previous discussions. Third bullet, social commentaries in text themes, the lyrics of songs, the texts of chants or traditional songs. Fourth bullet, the prevalence of improvisatory techniques, that things are spontaneous, they're not the same every performance. There are variations on rhythm patterns, there are variations on the melody. Fifth bullet, we have complex rhythmic interplay. We have layered patterns. We have polyrhythm, many different rhythms coming together. Sixth bullet, we have microtonal inflection, or the bending of pitches, which can happen on instruments, can happen vocally. Now there's just one more for fun here for a video today. I found this on YouTube. You'll see to the left on a photo here, there's a Caucasian man in amongst the, well, several, I guess, in amongst the Africans. So we have cultural outsiders who are immersing themselves out of a deep respect and an interest in non-Western music. On the right, we see a video, or excuse me, see a photo of the young man who's going to perform this song called Ruthless Eye. And you'll get the idea that he is appreciative and paying respect to West African culture and Caribbean culture at the same time. So look at this and see all these different Africanisms coming together as performed by a non-African.
Ruthless eye and his callous eye looked upon me last night and held my flaws high above his head in golden sight. Imperfect eye was stunned with shame, his naked truth exposed, and lay with his back against the door that melancholy closed. Ambitious eye and eye pernicious, one cast about in the other's place. The latter dark in solitude, stealthy sets the pace. Yet ignorant eye looked the other way, as it mattered not to me. Blithe is mine that I need not reveal the mystery. Sell no lies, earn no shame, see no wonder, no pleasure, no gain. Sell no lies, earn no shame, see no wonder, no pleasure, no gain. Sell no lies, earn no shame, see no wonder, no pleasure, no gain. Sell no lies, earn no shame, see no wonder, no pleasure, no gain.
After seeing that video, Ruthless Eye, I think the most important thing is to realize that even if a non-African is performing, you can pick up on the fact that there are Africanisms present in the music. Now, obviously, some of the Africanisms just came from his choice of instruments, but as you noticed with certain instruments that were not African, like the bass guitar, that you could create this layering of rhythms. You could reflect an almost entirely African aesthetic. The vocal aesthetic, probably not entirely African, but just about everything else about that performance was of African aesthetic origin. So keep that in mind as we continue into the next sessions, into the next module that builds upon that idea and looks at African American culture specifically. Aloha.